Let's try something different. What was the podcast called? Okay, this might not be it then.
Rooster Teeth is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Don't let your internet provider see your site visit. Hide your browsing activity. My calls are the bleep one is small.
In an attempt to be quiet, you made noise.
Exactly, yeah, and a way more intrusive noise than me just coughing, probably. I've got the mini one, Gus, so they're both the same size.
The one I have is fucking massive. It's huge. It's almost as big as my keyboard over there. It's too big. Hey, welcome, Brian. Your first time on the podcast, like you said.
I did not find it in this tab. For this playlist. Let me go over
we
here.
never had you on before. It was like right before I slacked you down
Who is
to
this
be on the
guy?
podcast. Was it a week or two?
Hold on.
Whatever it was. Eric was like, "Hey, we should have Brian on the podcast." I was like, "That's a great idea. Why have I never thought of that before?" And then Eric replied, "I'm not sure if you're being sarcastic or not right now."
Well, I've been at the company for 4 years, so maybe I needed to pay some dues, and now
Is
you're
there-
like, this kid's ready for the big time.
I don't
By
even know who
kid,
this
I
is.
mean
This
a
is-
44-year-old man.
He was there for after 2016 up to this podcast, which apparently this is everything in 2020. Which I would think the thing that I'm trying to find is. Wait, what? Oh, let me check. Okay, isn't that election day, November 11th? Seems like it should be somewhere here, but if it's not, then I might be thinking of a different thing. Oh, there it is. But this was not what I wanted to find. I'm gonna let this play before I find the other video. The other video is the one I was talking about on Twitter. That's the gold mine. So let me play this. Obviously, people are on the edge of their seats for this one. So let me Let me play this and then try to find the other one. Cool. These guys do the craft beer. Hold on. I know this is not relevant to anybody, but all the metal bands did it. Might as well. Gus Media. Ooh, is that a German? Yeah, German Rooster Beer. Would they disavow that now? Okay, so this is probably not real. That would be cool though. Can I hold on? Well, let me try to find that. Where would I even go to find this if they're not even? Oh, dude, here we go. Here we go. Wow. Is this an actual? Yeah, this is Texas. This is literally, yeah, this is theirs. Ryan? Wait, is it the other Ryan Sanchez, not Culture War Criminal? Isn't Ryan the guy who got Me Too? Am I thinking of the wrong guy? Oh, okay, no, can't be. What was that guy's name? Wasn't that guy's name Ryan too? Okay. That's theirs. Wow. When did this happen? 2018. Yeah, I don't have a timetable on everybody obnoxiously shilling out their own beer, so fair enough. So they do actually have that. Where can I buy that if I wanted to? What is it called? It's called the Rooster Brew. Okay. So the store is active. I can go on the store and buy stuff even if they don't make videos. Roosterteeth.com. This is just them. I'm talking about like yeah, here we go. A store. Hello? Oh, this is the store. These 3 shirts? No, you're joking. I can't even buy the one I have anymore. This is the store. This is the... Wow. That's underwhelming. But that's fine. Okay. Sorry about that. Where was I? I got distracted by the intro. That's
But it is nice to have that option.
Oh, jeez. It's very odd for the intro to just be like, fake merch? Not available? The Rooster Teeth podcast with fake merch and nothing else. Okay.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Rooster Teeth podcast. I'm Gus.
I'm Gavin.
It's me. Hi, I'm Ariel. You guys
And
like 3 times. I'm so sorry.
Barbara. It was in perfect personality, Mariel.
Oh, don't tell me it's staying over here. I'm sorry about that. I wasn't even sharing my screen.
A long time about whether or not it was appropriate to do a podcast today.
Okay, pause. Okay, that's horrible. That's horrible for me to be on the wrong tab while I'm telling you all this stuff. Oops. Hold on. Let me uh-oh, doesn't know what he's doing. Doesn't know how to do a live stream. Okay, sorry about that. This one? Well, let me just do this again. No, I was over here, wasn't I? Ugh. Okay. That's not very professional. That's not very... This is what I was doing. Check this out. if I'm like, the biggest Rooster Teeth fan on the planet, am I in the wrong tab? No, I'm not. Okay. Okay. I gotta let this blue dot be my helper. So, all right. Well, this can be a bit of a trial. There's not a lot on this one. So, this is the store. This is not like a preview for the show. This is the store. The store. If you want to buy all merch. I have Rooster Teeth merch. It almost looks like this, but not quite. There's a little bit more on the cover, but this is everything. And I don't even identify these slogans. These are not like the catchphrases that I remember. But yeah, this is the entire merch store. And then if you go on the homepage, what do you get? They have like a blog, which to me, that's fine. That's cool. Don't want that. Whoa, what's this? Bernie and Ashley answer your questions? What is that, like? Oh, this already happened. So they did like a Q&A? Where? So if I want like the latest update, I gotta go to Subscribestar or something? Okay. I don't even know if this is on the YouTube channel. Is this on the YouTube channel? Doesn't seem to be. So this is like exclusive content. If you're a paid subscriber of the website, not the YouTube channel. So, okay. Anyways, I didn't notice that I was not on the page, so that's on me for not knowing. But anyways, we can go back. We can go back. It actually wasn't that funny. I'm just trying to do some things here. How can I like switch between these things without? That doesn't seem very convenient on the browser. Check this out. If I want to switch, so I'm over here. So if I want to switch to the other Rooster Teeth tab, what am I doing? Can I do that quickly? Oh, that's a very awkward thing there. Okay, we can continue so that I'm not just like, this isn't just like a worthless live stream. Okay, that's what I want. I'm gonna need like IT over here. That's very obnoxious. Okay, so can I get, if I'm on the Rooster Teeth website, can I get a rundown of like every employee that's like now on the panel? Because I don't know these people. This is like, well, I know like half the panel. Those are the OGs, but there's a lot of context that's not really available to anybody who just wants to tune on to the latest podcast of the latest era of the show. That doesn't really seem to be very obvious when I click on a lot of these things. But anyways, I want this to play because I know that nobody wants to hear this, so that's why I'm playing it for no one. And I want to find the thing that I was trying to think of earlier, so I can stop delaying.
And we thought about canceling it or just doing something else, but ultimately we didn't feel like that was in our voice. We thought that people may want to hear from us and
The voice of Rooster.
hear our thoughts and what we have to say, even though we're in very strange times right now. I just wanted to, reinforce the notion that everyone's been seeing online that, take action if you can. If you can protest, go out and protest. If you can donate, please donate. Spread the word. We'll have some organizations in the description for this video that I'd recommend you can donate to.
This is the worst live stream I've ever
There's things
seen.
like the George Floyd Memorial Fund, Black Visions Collective, Reclaim the Block.
Okay.
And I just want to remind everyone before we get started that Black lives do matter. All right, now with that, I assume we're going to be talking about the current state of affairs a lot today on this podcast. Oh, there's one other thing I should mention. Tomorrow, June 2nd, we're going to be taking part in Blackout Tuesday. We're not going to be posting any content aside from this episode of the podcast, which is going to go free for everyone. There'll be no live streams.
Oh, I think I might be
on RTTV tomorrow, but chat will be open. There's no new episodes of videos on the site or on YouTube, and all our social media will go dark. So encourage everyone to take the time to educate yourself, donate, listen, learn, and definitely take action. Okay, now that that's out of the way.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, how's everyone doing? How was everyone's weekend? Eventful?
Yeah, the country's
I
on
think
fire.
eventful
Quarantine, baby.
is putting it lightly. I guess I should
Everyone's pissed
warn
off.
everybody right now as we talk about the state of the world and the state of things. I probably will be crying a lot today.
By the way, Barbara's Jewish. I didn't know that.
That'll be fun and entertaining for
Does
everyone
she
to
look
watch.
Jewish?
Oh, for once, it's not me. Thank goodness.
This one looks
Some good
Jewish.
company with you there, Mariel.
That's like a stereotypical Jewish
It's
comedian.
not just
It
me
could-
this time. Don't you worry, Barbara.
It could only ever be
Excuse
one
me.
of us at a time.
Barbara
It can
just
never
looks
be both of us.
There's too much power. It's weird seeing the level of action and protests that we're seeing here.
Can I manipulate
we've
the
definitely
audio?
seen protests in recent
This might
years.
be, this
after
might not be a.
different police killings, or even before that. I'm thinking about, or before that. Also, in addition to that,
There we
things
go.
like Occupy Wall Street, but
The thing I'm trying to find, it's like a Zoom panel,
everything that's been going on
and
over the
Jeff's
past
in
week
it,
has
who
just
was
been
my favorite
seemingly, like,
employee, my
overwhelming
favorite
than
contributor
what we've seen
in the company.
previously.
Mhm.
So it's a Zoom panel, so I feel like it has to be after 2020. I feel like that was very rare after the
Being a little
fact,
kid
or before the
and
fact, rather.
reading in history books, like about
So yeah, it looks like this, but this doesn't look like Zoom. It looks like this is the podcast.
And at the time,
So
reading
let me do some
and
digging.
thinking that,
Enjoy this.
oh,
I mean,
if
this
that
is,
were to happen today,
comment. Tell me a superior video, any video on the internet. Just put it in the chat to save the stream, because I'm trying to find something demonstrably worse than the thing that I'm playing right now. So, thank you guys for tuning on to the weekend live stream. I said I was going to do content. That's not what I'm doing right now. I'm doing the opposite of content. I'm abusing the audience with the worst videos I could find online. So,
doing something, right?
no apologies for that.
Protest or donate.
But I thought that this would be a fun experiment.
Yeah, I've read from
Since
a lot
I've been
who,
MIA for a
are
little
only
bit.
able to do so much.
To me,
whether
this is a
it's
nice
I don't
gradual
have a lot of money, I
transition
can't donate
into
much, or
the insanity
I
of my
share
life.
this, but there's not really much else I could do.
But excuse me, I'm speaking over the content. Please enjoy while I find the other one.
Because a little bit of progress here and there ends up being a lot of progress in the end. So no matter what you could do, it's always a step forward.
Are they
And
at
don't
home
feel
right
like
now?
because you're not financially stable enough to commit more money to something or whatever it is, or if you're not in a state where you could go out and protest, or in a, you don't feel like it's
This is 2 videos after the Barbara's Banana Bush episode. So I just want to clarify
you don't feel like you're able to do that.
context, the timetable.
Sharing information, being
2020
there for
war.
people, speaking out when you can against people who do have those beliefs and maybe racist tendencies or behaviors, speaking out against those people.
Yeah, I feel like
And
education is so important.
My
So
rate,
important.
Even amongst family members and friends, if you know of like other people's struggles or like the ways that they could change, if they're sort of, you can tell that
Is
they're
that
on the wrong side of history.
is that a
just, like,
pride
spreading
flag
the word
Ricky
enough
keeps
as
here?
well.
Yeah,
I don't have that one.
I've got no donation money.
That's after my time.
Goal. There's multiple ways to achieve it, multiple ways to help out, right? Like any little bit helps try to push that needle to the right side of history. It's strange, with all the stuff going on.
Needle drop.
It feels really overwhelming, right? I mean, this year has been absolutely terrible. I feel like the past 4 or 5 years we keep saying, "Thank God that year's over," and the next year just comes along and it's like, what in the world?
2020 is officially hell. I don't
They're
know.
like all home.
Is canceled.
I was trying.
They're not
I
even
was
in the
trying to write
studio.
down like everything that's going on in the world that you have to deal with right now. It's like the list it just made me depressed to look at it. I was like, I listed off a couple of things like it's gonna wear you down mentally, and I think it's okay to acknowledge that as well. Like I wish that almost like there was an adult I could go to. It's like, oh shit, I'm the adult.
Oh,
right?
you know
Like,
what? I think this was 2016. The thing I'm thinking of.
to try to
Okay.
do something about it, with it between the pandemic, this massive unemployment everywhere, all these protests. It's just like, what else? What next? And just
Are these not labeled by year?
I laid down on the floor. Well, I laid down over there a little earlier and just like stared at the ceiling for like 15 minutes, trying to like get my head straight
That's what I do.
and like figure out how to process it all.
It's a lot. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of talk about what I've been doing this weekend and what I've kind of been going through, it has become so liberating to truly just say fuck it. Like, this is what I think. I'm not worried about you unfollowing me. I'm not worried about you like attacking me. This is how I feel, and I'm gonna yell it and I'm gonna scream it because people have been doing that for centuries and no one's listening. And I just like, I can't stand by anymore, and I can't stand by and be complicit because I realize that's what's going on. I was living in Austin whenever the Mike Brown protests were happening here, and that was a super peaceful protest. And
That happened in Texas.
that was Mike Brown was killed in August of 2014, I think. That was 6 years ago. And people keep saying, well, like, why are there protests? Why are there looting? Why is there rioting? Like, that won't change anything. It's like, well, kneeling hasn't changed anything. Like, marching hasn't changed anything. So what is it that you guys want
Very true.
to invoke change? Because at this point, nothing's worked. And I think it was Van Jones who said it. He's a news commentator. I think he's also an author. But anyway, he said, hurt people holler. And if you were hurt, you're going to say something. You say, hey,
Did they get rid of this video?
And if people don't help you, then you might
That would
shout.
be
You
horrible.
might start shouting. And then if they don't listen to you, then you might start screaming. And if they don't listen to you, then you might start breaking something, because that's how you're going to get attention. And that's what this has come to. And it's just so infuriating.
How dare
to
they?
watch it happen. And I think the biggest thing I'm feeling.
I'm trying to
behind
put on the
right now
worst
that I have
video
to
I've ever
fight back
found.
with Is
There's a possibility that
and shame that I
out of integrity they
haven't said
got rid of
anything
it.
before, and that it took me this long, and that it took most of us this long. It took us watching a video, a 10-minute video of a black man being murdered in front of our eyes to actually say, oh, hey, wait, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
And I'm so mad at myself because I'm
There's
in the
an
same boat.
autocorrect
Like,
to Jeff getting mad on camera.
I'm not doing anything extraordinary. I'm just someone who was finally like, oh shit, you know what? Me sharing this nice quote, this nice inspirational quote, me, silently donating.
Okay, let me
every blue moon once a year to a charity.
Let's not be completely belligerent. Let's actually let me give you something that's not torturous. Let me give you a video that's actually not going to ruin people's lives. This is what I'm trying to do. Check this out, okay? Because I found this one. This is what we're talking about. This is actually
RTX that year.
This is actually what people would be interested to check out, and this one too, probably. This one's probably more in depth. But let me try to like get a, what do you call it? Let me try to get like a sample of the video, because it was put on the screen as far as I know. This was like available in one of these video essays. So let me try to find that. Okay. Let me try this one. Let me try not getting ad block. Okay. See, this is the podcast I'm familiar with. They were all in what? Yeah, perfect. Here we go. There's a transition. This is the Rooster Teeth studio. This is them physically being in the same room. The giant logo. Like, this is the studio. And everything after 2020 seems to be saturated with this. There you go. Seems to be like people in their own little rooms, divorced. Oh, here we go. Here we go. And then there was this one. So this is off topic. Okay, so off topic's what I'm trying to find. See, I like this. This is a cool format. And it's like a bar. Okay, this is RTX, which is the Expo, which is not what we want. Okay, is this off topic too? Oops. That's Expo. Where's the thing that I just found? Oh my. Did I not just click on it? Okay. Well, it doesn't really matter. Those are the two studios that I'm familiar with. But do we get a sample of after 2020? What I said earlier is it was possibly after 2016. See, well, what is this? This is a completely different studio. The wood paneling, it's American Moment. Okay. I'm trying to find the video with this lady. Here we go. Okay, it was called Off Topic. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So I needed to click on this for so that we could find where it was. But yeah, those two basically documentaries. Those are actually worthwhile detours to check out if need be. But I wanted to find this video kind of naturally, and I couldn't. I didn't even know that there was a name of that podcast. I just thought they put them all in a playlist, and I was going to be able to find them. But oh gosh, there might even be less. Okay, so this was closer to. Oh, I'm sorry. This was 2020 or thereabouts. And this is the most popular video. Okay, so let me let me switch over. Oh, sorry about that, man. Mr. JTJP. What's going on, man? Shout out. I argue that 2020, 2024 was the worst 5 years of the country in a long time. Key caveat, distinct caveat. After September 10th, that huge shift towards moderates, conservatism, Christianity is awesome. Rooster Teeth didn't age well. No. And I was trying to be a little charitable because, after 2016, that's basically like Gamergate into Overdrive. We have a very radical acceleration, you could say, of content being just completely saturated with the political milieu. And, this kind of already happened. Okay, serious moment here, not just like putting on the worst thing on the screen. There's not really a cultural context for Rooster Teeth after 2016. Because I think I said earlier, they had some employee, what was that, like Ariel? There was somebody they invited on, and it's like, I've been here since 2020, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm not even familiar with the things after, 2017 or what have you. But you think about the recruitment drive of interns, tech guys, pundit types. Rooster Teeth is trying to churn out content every year. And if you're somebody my age, I graduated high school in 2017. So my tolerance for achievement hunter content, it just wasn't my go-to by the time I'm about to, I'm eligible for college. I'm not going to be reliably tuning on to Jeff Ramsey on the, on YouTube. It's just less likely. And honestly, there are people who say like, I was buying Call of Duty Ghosts in whatever 2019. I was like, dude, I was already checked out by Black Ops 3, if I have the timetable correct on that. I think that was after, actually. So this is, I'm kind of having a bit of a older Zoomer moment. But I honestly, I was already checking out of a lot of the gaming content overall. So obviously, I'm not going to be a very loyal subscriber to Rooster Teeth by then. So you bring on these interns, tech guys, pundit types. You're kind of setting them up for failure, putting them in this black hole era, or what would be another. You're putting them in this graveyard shift era of the channel, the company. And it's like, hey man, go out there and like grab an audience, find people out there that are gonna, love you. And it's like, well, I mean, by then, who are the gamers of the post 2017 era? These like Aiden Ross audience people. I don't even know what how you get those people. I'm not even too familiar with that demographic as a Zoomer. And these guys are like obviously much older, probably not much older, just a little bit. These are like millennials to be fair. So I mean, yeah, you're Ariel or you're some DEI hire on the Rooster Teeth Company panel. And you're playing these games that like I'm not even playing. I'm like a racist Zoomer, chud. You're not targeting me. You're probably targeting some like apolitical early Zoomer type, TikTok obsessed Zoomer. I don't know the strategy for that. I don't know what you do for that. So you bring these people on to be like the guys for this era of gaming. And it just doesn't work. So to be a little to put on my Spencer cap on, what were you supposed to do in this like black hole period of the company? It's like it was cringe. I mean, I'm about to put on for you, unfortunately, the worst era of YouTube. But to say something polite, it's like I'm not even sure what I would have done if I was like trying to get people to like reliably tune on to the company after all this time. After the peak, what are you supposed to do? So yeah, what, they got into politics? What, that's like a foreign concept? Obviously, they're going to go for it. But yeah, it doesn't make for a very good lore for the company. And then you just combine it with all the things that happened afterwards. Yeah, Mr. JTJP. Yeah, this was horrible. This is like probably the worst thing they could have done. But I don't know if they had kept on what they were doing the animations, doing like lowbrow comedy. Was that less cringe? Probably. But was it gonna give them an audience that they were trying to find? Probably not. So hey, it's like when in doubt, just go for what everyone else is doing. Probably not the worst thing ever. But yeah, that yeah, it's like a cultural dead zone. It's like nothing distinct, nothing vitalistic, nothing memorable. It's just this very awkward period. And yeah, if you're not going down the political pipeline like myself during this era, if you're trying to like keep Rooster Teeth alive, well, that's kind of more compelling right now. But yeah, during that moment, it's actually like very cringe, and Sargon's clowning on you, so forth. So there you go. I wanted to say that just so that this wasn't just like a complete waste. This wasn't just completely worthless. But yeah, I'm about to put on for you. Please, anyone, please put something in the chat to get me to stop doing this, because oh, dude, yeah, College Humor. Yeah, dude, that's exactly what I was thinking. College Humor, the same thing, and they changed it to Dropout, and they don't have their OG panelists. IGN, post 2015, other channels really gained more popularity compared to Rooster Teeth. Their channel became the product of the time and focused on politics. Yeah, and I wonder if people even knew that it was happening, because obviously you have these like expose videos saying it all went south after the death of Monty, and really the death of that anime show that they were trying to do. So yeah, what do you do when you're not putting out possibly your best product on the channel? You're basically a victim of the era, and a lot of the gaming stuff by itself doesn't seem to be the main pull. So it's a very familiar process. But yeah, I think JT, I think yeah, they did have the worst of the bunch. IGN, I don't know if they have anything as embarrassing as what I'm about to put on here. Game Grumps. Yo, what's going on, Simple? I'm glad you're here. I don't know. Did Game Grumps have like a Gamergate moment? What did Game Grumps do? Here, just for you, man. Let me try to. I don't even know those guys, to be honest. Can you give me some context? They're live right now. Yeah, I don't know these guys, but they seem to be active. Seems like they're doing their thing. You're saying like these are the people that like didn't capitulate. These guys were not the cringe alternative. Probably. But yeah, let me play for you. Let me play you some content. But yeah, if at any moment, chat, I'm begging you. We have nothing planned out today. All right, we don't have content for today. They acknowledge Black Lives Matter after asking their fans on Twitter if they should support. Oh, they asked on Twitter. Here, can I find Game Grumps Black Lives Matter? Asking if they should. That's crazy. Like, chat, is liberalism actually the worst thing ever? Chat, cringe or not? Oh, this is JonTron. Okay, I don't know these people by their company things.
People like me are supposed to listen to people like you chatter on about this, the depression in America. It doesn't exist. Wealthy blacks also commit more crime than poor whites. That's a fact. Yeah, look it up.
Was that an actual intro?
Well, this certainly has been an interesting week. So recently, as you may have heard, I had a public debate about some contentious topics relevant to the day. It blew up in the media, and they wrote some, how you say, charitable articles on me.
Popular has some wild thoughts on immigration. Yeah, I don't know this lore. Did he actually wear the Nazi outfit? What your parents do when their kid's favorite YouTuber gets racist? Good question.
So I feel like I need to come out and say something. Staying silent doesn't really feel right, so I'm just going to address this here and now. I understand that I wasn't prepared for a debate of this sort with these kinds of sensitive topics at hand.
Yeah, we're not going to watch all that, but okay. I know that Gavin McInnes he refused to put him and PewDiePie on the political spectrum because they were gamers. He was discriminating against that genre of content creation because he said that wasn't that's not really the kind of people we're talking about. People going down the political pipeline. It's not necessarily. I mean, it might begin with one of these viral moments, but I mean, ideologically, we're not necessarily getting red pilled by PewDiePie, like in a very tangible way, in a way that's like very meaningful. You know what I'm trying to say? But yeah, if he actually said that on panel, that's actually I thought it was like, oh, he whatever. He was like not posting the same cringe post Gamergate tier virtue signaling as like, I don't know, as the thing that I'm about to put on. But if he actually did that, if he like full on was like, I want to have an honest discussion about politics, that's actually kind of crazy. Because I don't think PewDiePie ever did that. I thought it was like a comedy skit gone wrong type thing, which to me is not even technically political. You know what I mean? But moderate conservative views, yeah, that's what I thought. He poorly tried to stay in that debate. He later in that video you just watched carefully elaborated. Okay, you know what? That's actually good content. Let me play that. This is actually less cringe than anything I'm about to put on. I'm nostalgic for like. I'm actually not even right wing. I'm actually not even political, but I have to say it because this era is calling for me to clarify. The clarifiers would like a word with you, JonTron, guy that makes silly videos. Tobuscus, I call on to you. Tobuscus is another case of a guy who just started vlogging about how liberals are, acting retarded. So, all right, let me play this.
Adequately, I was a bit all over the place, and I said a lot of stuff that could be misconstrued in all sorts of ways. Things are being extracted from this that I know I don't think. I was in there under a lot of pressure that I'm not used to being under, and as it became clear, I suck at debate. So now every haphazard.
Let me check out these other chats before you guys leave, which I don't blame you for doing because this is a horrible live stream. JonTron left a long time ago. Okay, so he's gone. They ghosted JonTron after the Destiny debate. I didn't even know that happened. That's awesome. Okay, all right.
Offhand remark I made in the heat of the moment is being dissected and speculated on. So I'd like to clarify. I was trying to speak to the increasing tribalization of our culture. These days, we're taught to think in explicitly racial or ethnic categories or in terms of gender or sexual orientation. And I think this in itself plays a big hand in what's gotten our country
race communism bad.
That it's in. The simple point I was trying to make is that it's hypocritical for those who see everything in terms of race to suddenly turn around and object when white people speak up in what they believe are the best interests of their race. And it's also hypocritical to keep saying you want to have an honest conversation about race if you don't actually want to have an honest conversation about race. And anytime someone brings up an uncomfortable statistic, you freak out and burn things down or something. And I mean, you can see this in all the countless media articles that get pumped out every day from the highest levels saying, for instance, you can't be racist against white people, or it's a good thing whites are going to become a minority. Or you see it on TV when someone as mainstream as Samantha Bee says, white people ruined America for voting Trump.
It's pretty clear who ruined America. White people.
I suppose you could guess the reaction if Samantha Bee said black people ruined America.
There you go.
Voting overwhelmingly for Barack Obama, which they did both times. I'm not saying that's true, but the same standard applies.
Ruining
the
fabric.
Albeit indelicately, is that you can't keep banging the racial category drum and then be surprised and shocked when people think in racial categories. And just for the sake of total clarity, I do completely understand that historically the African American community has had a raw deal in this country. Discrimination certainly exists, but I do believe it goes all ways. I'm not naive to the fact that we as a country have had a terrible history of dealing with race. I mean, of course, from slavery to Jim Crow to even the Irish. But the point is that
The
this kind of
Irish.
discrimination is universally wrong. And I feel like for
The
some reason we're
Italians.
digressing on this front. Pointing at a race and saying all of this race is blank is racist. And I have to be honest, I don't see many people.
Was he
using the
calling
argument.
Irish black in that comment? Was that a slight? Was that a subtle comment? JonTron, you're losing me, man.
Jobs over this kind of garbage? And I'd like to make it clear, I have no problem with immigration when it's handled correctly. I should have made it clear I was mostly speaking to mass immigration. I am literally a child of two immigrants. It would be pretty heinous of me to say that immigration is impossible.
I
because
love
it's not.
this genre
I brought all
video.
this stuff up offhand in a random Twitch stream late at night, so I understand why people looking at this think I'm some sort of explicit ethno-nationalist, but I'm not. I genuinely believe this country would be better off if we dropped the hyphens and just all referred to each other as fellow Americans. And for a number of years now, it's been disheartening to me to see this strange road we've been headed down. I really don't understand it. And you know, some of these topics have really been weighing on me, so I felt compelled to respond in some way, perhaps against my better judgment. I know people don't expect these kinds of things.
All right.
So in summary, I'm sorry if this has come out of left field for some of you. I hope this has cleared up at least a little bit if you were curious what was going on. Any of the things in the stream that could be considered weird sounding or off-putting, I probably agree with you that they were. So I hope you don't read too much into it. That said, I genuinely hope people keep debating, keep talking to each other, and keep learning. Honest, civil discourse without witch hunts is the only way we're getting out of this mess.
Yeah. What's the date on this? 2017. Yeah, guys, if we can just turn down the political temperature and hear each other out. Surely, I in March, I thought, there was a lot of surely there's not going to be any craziness that ensues following early 2017. Surely we're going to put it all back together, and we're gonna reach across the aisle and put our differences aside, unite the right and the left and the moderates. Did that happen, chat? Oh, geez. That's crazy, man. The JonTron pipeline. Yeah, I actually was not, I didn't, obviously I was not a fan. I did not know of him. I didn't have anything against him. Your movie sucks is like going after him about something. Okay, yeah. So everyone is has some like anti-expose video essay about them. That's so crazy. Yeah, this is obviously like a very mild-mannered, silly man, and I'm saying that as a compliment. Like this is like a comedian getting thrown to the wolves for saying like, yeah, I want to live in a white country, like white people built this thing. And actually everything I like is actually part of white culture. And so, yeah, I'm very hesitant to just be super sympathetic and be hyper supportive of any race communism that's like thrusted upon, That's crazy. Wow. Guy doesn't have a lot of stuff in this room, but yeah, that's crazy, man. All right, well, thank you for that. I didn't know that lore. JonTron is right. This is what reverse racism looks like. True, racism can be committed by anyone regardless of race. Not to be like very pigeonholey about this, but I was checking out that Dave Smith conversation. It's like a 3.5-hour Dave Smith, who I like a lot. He's a libertarian type, Ron Paul type. But he spoke with a lot of controversial figures over the years. He talked to Spencer, he talked to Nick Fuentes. And one of the things that, this happened like less than a week ago. He was talking to Nick, and one of the things that was said was to categorize racism as like almost like a psychopathy. It's not necessarily something you identify with explicitly. It's almost like a quality that's like tangential to your identity. It's like one of these expressions that happens. Like JonTron was saying, like, yeah, you get flustered on a Twitch stream and you say, yeah, I'm fed up with this group that's doing this very one-sided thing. That doesn't necessarily mean that like you're saying that all the time or that you're like thinking about that group all the time, but like, yeah, like in politics, like, yeah, talking about crime, you know, you're going to say something, especially as like a live public figure, you're going to like say racial things. But yeah, does that mean that you are, I mean, I know this is very like, this is like the worst 2016 era, like moderate perspective on it, but you guys know what I'm saying. Like, you know, we try to like backpedal and say, you know, well, I'm not this, but I'm this, I'm this instead. But I'm saying like as a psychology experiment, like, yeah, everyone has like it is an expression that is not necessarily ideological. And I know that that drives the left crazy. It's like, well, what do you mean? It's like, saying that thing inherently has some category that we're all familiar with. And I'm not convinced of that, you know? Like, well, why is it so common for like somebody who doesn't even know political theory to say things that are thought of as like radically far right? Well, maybe it's not even a political thing that you're doing when you're like lashing out. It's actually something much more mainstream. It's a very timid part of your psychology. But it's the climate today that calls for a clarification. I want to harp on that. These clarifiers, you know, well, why are you doing that? You know, that question's not very meaningful. And obviously someone like JonTron shouldn't even have to answer that question. It doesn't even matter. It's not a valuable question. Your mind can try to conjure up this like hypothetical of putting it in this like very existential category. What if it literally does not matter at all? It's not meaningful in any because it's not ideology. It's this quality that's much more closer to anger or depression or what have you. You know what I'm trying to say? So yeah, sorry for the tangent. I just I'm trying to not play this video that is gonna put the audience count to 0. So JonTron even had a conversation with Sargon. Oh wow, okay, that's cool. It's on YouTube. That is why having civil discussions and debates are critical. Respect is what needs to be encouraged. Yeah, because even if JonTron, like simple, like you said, even if he is a moderate conservative, he's actually like very liberal. If the left lets him do that, he's actually on their side in a technical way. He is a classical lib. He is a Jordan Peterson type. You know, he is sympathetic to the right as a lib. You know what I'm trying to say? But yeah, they just want to like throw those people out as if they are disposable. These people are like worthless. They are the enemy because they notice black crime. But anyways, I know this is like the worst pandering on YouTube. I still have nostalgia back in 2007, 2014. Yeah. Well, that's like the 90s. That's like Academic Agent's whole. Well, he's very like cynical about it. He says it's actually futile that we can't go back to that era because it's like saying let's go back to before the internet. But yeah, I do think there is a lot of potential with the moderate position. But yeah, well, I mean, as far as content, yeah, I'm nostalgic for this type of thing. 90s. Okay, yeah, you just said it. There you go, JT. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Racism can be committed by any regardless. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we are all radical centrists here. Yeah. No, that's wild. Yeah, I thought the JonTron thing was actually less political. I thought it was more so like, hey man, you're a white guy and you're not like being a sycophant to these radical groups. What say you? You know, choose one. I thought it was something like that. But yeah, he actually like vocally said, "This is BS," and I am a white man standing tall. That political cartoon of is it Roosevelt? It was like 1 foot in America, 1 foot in like Europe. That is JonTron peering over the continent of Africa. No, that's funny. Yeah, I the other thing too is I was not like tuning on to these people clarifying all this stuff. To me, I was already checking out Gavin McInnes, Paul Joseph Watson. These were overtly political people, but it might be fruitful to try to sift through some of the gamers, the comedians that were like live finding out like, oh, I'm potentially a target in this like very autistic climate of clarifiers. Okay. No, but we'll do the thing that should not be done. We'll put on, yeah, hey, happy Saturday to all you guys. I don't know why you would subject yourselves to this tyrannical live stream. This is going to be the worst thing I'm ever going to publicly do on camera, possibly. But yeah, let's get into the worst thing ever put to digital. All right, we're done with the wholesome Chungu. So that's what Games Grumps was. Okay, I didn't know that was like, I thought that was something else. So for those that don't know, Off Topic was their, hey man, we're just gonna have our own little playlist here, okay? You guys can't go after us for this. We're telling you, this is Off Topic. This isn't gaming. This isn't tricking you into tuning on to some, some political thing that you clicked on by mistake. We're gonna go off topic, okay? Go for it. All right. All right.
Hello, and welcome to what I can only assume will be one of the most difficult off topics I've been a part of. My name is Jeff Ramsey.
Man.
Typically, Michael hosts
It'll be as bad as I thought.
Given recent events, I asked him if I could come in and
Can
say
you
a few things.
prepare
And he
for
was
what's
gracious
about
in
to
giving his
happen?
platform. With me, of course, as always, are Jeremy and Jack and Fiona and Gavin in no particular order. It's just the order I saw them in. I have a lot I want to say today about
Go for it.
Achievement
Man.
Hunter and our community and our failings, but I also do not want to give the appearance of another white guy on a diatribe of platitudes.
So true. Don't worry, Jeff.
so-
we got your back, man.
I'm a little at loss as to how to proceed.
By the way, you
and,
don't need context. You're about to
I'll
find
just
out.
do my best. I'd like to say,
Sadly.
well, first off, if you didn't see it, a former Achievement Hunter employee named Mika Burton yesterday, in the wake of all of the Black Lives Matter controversy that's going on right now, and this revolution that's happening, I think it's probably the new civil rights movement. I know we're all really raw and on edge right now because we're watching our country burn to the ground. And in that process, Mika shared her experience working at Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter. And it was like a fucking punch to the gut that I needed. And I called her yesterday and I talked to her, and I'm not going to share our private conversations. I don't think that's respectful.
That'd be cool.
I'll talk about how I failed Mika. And I have a lot of reasons. I have a million reasons. None of them are excuses. I don't think there are excuses. But I failed her as a friend, and I failed her as a coworker. And I guess I should say I failed the audience as well.
Are you ready,
by
Chip?
not being a better example for you. I don't know. Sidetracked. I'm sorry.
By the way, before he continues, he's doing very well. I mean, he can't even put like a sentence together. I just want to say this. Okay, so Micah, or whatever her name is, excuse me, as a mixed race Zoomer, excuse me, I conflated the two black girls. I don't know how that could ever happen. It's uncalled for. But apparently this is Fiona who's sitting on the dais. she's going to be the one that's going to be. I don't even know if we're going to make it that far because it's not necessary. But she is the other Black employee who was making content on the channel and was just getting ratioed in medieval fashion every time she would put out videos. Apparently, allegedly, these were harassment comments saying like, "Who are you? You're a diversity hire." You know, I tune in to my guys, and who are you? You know, how'd you even get this gig? But apparently, Fiona was not the only one to be victim of said prejudice. Micah was the one who got apparently the worst of it, and I don't even know what that means. Like ribbing, slights in the chat. You know what actually was said, I actually don't know, and I think a lot of those videos were probably taken down because the audience won. The democratic process was vindicated by the chatters. So that is what he is shitting his pants on this live stream about, saying I failed her, I did not protect her as the white knight of the company, and you know I pity this man for trying to hold up on his shoulders this strong Black woman, and he failed to do so, which we all do. You know, we all fail to do it on that level. You know, I don't even know if it's physically possible to do so. But the other part of this was he's not even having her be on the panel, an honest discussion. I don't know if she's on the company anymore. I don't know if she left in protest. I actually don't know the nitty-gritties of this controversy. Fiona's going to be the one to speak on it in this stream, but he is having on a separate, unrelated Black woman talk about this topic, which, I mean, if Micah stormed off in protest, I guess that's okay. But kind of doing the cliche of like, hey, I'm on here pants riddled with feces talking about this subject, but I'm not going to have the person that I'm talking about, the person that got ratioed, the person that caused such a shitstorm on the company, you know, on the floor level, because apparently she was a physical employee, like an intern in the Austin area, not just like some pundit type who like did a bunch of videos for the channel. But she's not even here. This is some other Black woman that is here as a representative of what it's like to be shit talked on the internet. And so Micah's not even here. I did not know that context. So excuse me, I'm going on a bit. I'm rambling. But I do think that's funny. She's not even here. It's some other Black woman. Because I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, this is a metaphysical topic. This is, anybody could be here. It's interchangeable. Okay, because this is not about Micah. This is about all Black struggle on the computer. So anyways, that's awesome. But please, Jeff, you're doing so well. Take it away.
I wanted to have this discussion today, and I told her in person, and I want to tell you, and I want to tell the world.
You might not be
sorry, Tamika, for her
an
experience working at Achievement Hunter and Rooster Teeth. I am sorry. I was not a more vocal supporter of her.
Is this I don't know this Achievement Hunter logo. That might be different. Anyway, sorry.
I am sorry. I was in such a dark place, and it almost lines up to the T of when she worked here.
Shout out Double Dime.
I was even on sabbatical at the end of this. This is not an excuse, but I was so consumed by my own pain. My marriage was falling apart. I was an alcoholic. I was killing myself. I was depressed, and I didn't realize it. And
Is he not married?
I was in a very, very dark place, and that's not an excuse. I just was so blind to the pain going on around me. I just couldn't see it. I was so consumed with my own inner turmoil that I was just deficient as a friend and a coworker, and I was blind, and I'm so sorry for that. I wish that I had been better. I wish that I had been stronger. I wish that I had figured my life out a lot earlier. But
I kind of don't want to clown at him on that top. You know, if there's like some personal stuff there, it sounds like that's like actually the thing that's bothering him, and then all this political stuff is like tacked on. So you know what? Okay, I'm gonna cuck out a little bit. You know what? That's actually serious, and that is like a real thing. So yeah, I'm not gonna clown on him for that. That's I don't know the specifics there. It's not my business. But what is about to be said on on the controversy, which to me is divorce. It is outside of the things he just said. But I think because of the timing of things, unfortunately, I think a lot of this is going to anger of things outside of that are going to be conflated with the things that I think are much more fair game. This silly political thing, this controversy where there should not be. So that's kind of too bad. I don't want to be mistaken for minimizing a lot of that other stuff, which is too bad. You know, that is like a midlife crisis type category. And I'm trying to concentrate on the thing that we're all very familiar with, this kind of Sargon era politics. So that might be why. That might be what's there. Yeah, the subscriber count. Yeah, there must be like an exodus there. You're probably right, JT. But anyway, let's continue.
I just need the world to know that has affected Fiona, and it's affected Jeremy, and it's affected Lindsay, and Matt, and Jack, and Ryan, and anybody in our company, Barbara, that has received hate from our audience, and I allowed us to be silent. And I have reasons for that, and they are not good reasons. But I would like to at least explain the thought process behind all of this. But I also don't, like I said, I don't want this to turn into some diatribe. And so I'd like to open the discussion up. I know, Fiona, you were in many ways Mika's spiritual successor as a female person of color who is a member of Achievement Hunter now. And I thought we had learned a lot from our failings with Mika. And I'm learning that I didn't understand the depth of our failings at the time, but I also realized that I thought we had changed. I thought we'd gotten better. I think we have. I hope we have, but I don't know if it's to what degree. And so I wanted to allow you. I know that we had this discussion on our topic months ago, and for you because you weren't able to be a part of it, and then that felt really unfair, and so we pulled it so that you could be a part of it. And I would like to offer you an opportunity to speak right now about your experience here, about ways that I can be a better friend and coworker to you.
Do you think this is just a hypothetical. Do you think I should probably like segregate that's a bad metaphor. I should probably like divorce this into chapters because I know that this is brutal. But do you think, like I showed you earlier, there was the Achievement Hunter studio, there was the Rooster Teeth podcast studio, which apparently are separate things. But, in that environment, there's that thing of like, you can't necessarily do everything you would do if you were on a Zoom panel, or you might pull back, or if anything, it might be more cut if everyone was in the same room. But do you think like this being in their own houses doing this episode kind of allows them to grandstand in a more obnoxious way? I guess it would be a little bit more try hard, or rather it would be more I don't know, like it would be probably more obnoxious if they were all together, because then it would just be this competition of who's more upset. But I don't know, there is something about being like away from everybody that I feel like makes you want to sit on your soapbox and just do this in the worst way possible. But I'm not sure. It probably would be worse if they were in the studio. I just don't feel like it would go the same way. Whether it's better or worse, I don't think it would be the same dynamic. And it does allow him to be like, this is a subject I'm talking about, not just in our company, but in the world. This is a political subject. This affects all of us. I feel like saying things like that, which are like these meaningless liberal slogans, I feel like you don't do that in person, even if you're all liberal. Trying to talk like you're like standing on a mountain, I feel like you don't do that in person. But I might be wrong. Obviously, people do that. But I'm just thinking about, to me, it's just very awkward for them to have the studio, and then we're going to do this Zoom style thing. like that's somehow a superior format. You know, I think it's horrible. I think as long as he does change his life for the better, for him, he probably needed to keep this matter. Probably. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, yeah, I wonder like the arc of, you know, gamer chud, successful company, the political climate makes things more complicated. I don't really know if we have like a. I meant to put this in. What is it? Through Bible study. Oh yeah. Yeah, to be like, you know, the human element to all of this. Yeah, it's you know, I mean, it's funny the things that are, you know, about to be said soon. But yeah, all this other, like, to me, if the personal life stuff is like an albatross, then yeah, that's literally not meant for anything like this. So this is like the worst option to air this out on the channel. But he's saying that the controversy is like a powder keg. You know, there's these personal things. I'm not just going to go on here and talk about my marriage, obviously. But you know what, man? There's a lot of hate out there, and so now it's time to talk. It's like, you know, I'm not sure those two things are even connected. You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays, there's just no limiting principle. There's no distinction there. It's like, hey, man, you got something to say, and you can just pull out like the the most baffling personal anecdote. But yeah, like none of this should be said. The political stuff, like none of this should be said in a YouTube content format. You know, this is foreign to anybody before the 90s. A guy subjecting himself to this is just very odd. Anyways. And you know, I don't think we need the testimony here. I wanna get to the other stuff.
As Rooster Teeth can support you more. But more I just want to listen to what you have to say.
I don't.
Yeah,
No.
okay. I'm gonna try to make this make sense, but
I want the panel.
the petitions that were made to kick me out, the N-word thrown around, the stalking, the harassment. I have physically, and I told Gavin this, and I kind of sort of told Jack, but like the reason I fucking hate playing GTA is because every time I play GTA, I get death threats sent to me on Instagram. And I'm like, for what? Because I can't fucking play GTA? Because I don't know how to control? I've never played GTA in my life. Why is that so important for people to send death threats to? It makes no fucking sense. There must be some hatred. It's not because I'm not funny, and there's people who don't find me funny, and there's people who don't like me, and that's fine, that's cool. I'm not supposed to be liked by everyone, but there's some people that do really just not like me because of the way I was born. And I feel like the reason why I feel people need you guys especially to speak up about it is because there's a trend where racist people, where shitty people love to congregate. They love to be near each other. They do not like being with anyone else. They love to be near each other. So the more silent you are, the more you're letting it happen, and the more they congregate. The shitty person will be like, hey, I can say whatever I want here because they're not monitoring it. They are not deleting the comments. They are not talking about it. They don't care. And they congregate, and it becomes even more and more. That's why I am so supportive of people calling that out, and of people and replying to those shitty comments. And I know the community managers have been doing great, but I've been told that apparently they don't like when I reply to them. They don't like when I reply to these people on RTTV, and it's like, or not RTTV, but just on the videos, and it's like, what am I supposed to do? Delete the comment, please. Get rid of the comment. Stop arguing with them. Stop letting them have a platform. Because there's a difference between having an opinion, giving criticism, and just being outright hateful. Hateful, and it makes no sense. So I think at the end of the day, what I think you guys can do, and what I think Rooster Teeth needs to just work on, is getting rid of these fucking assholes, and not being scared to call it out. You guys will not have any repercussions done to you. It cannot be worse than what I'm experiencing. You guys can take some heat, and it's not even going to be a lot of heat. And I also don't want to keep praising you guys when you do it, because that's just a normal human thing to do. I don't want people to tell you guys are amazing, you guys are great because you wrote one tweet. This is a normal thing. You are not a great, amazing person because you wrote that. You are a normal person who cares about their employees and their coworkers. And I think that's pretty much all I wanted to sort of say in my right now. But I just need you guys to know that I felt like shit before, but I learned, and I became so headstrong that right now none of this shit bothers me. And people could tell me that they fucking hate me, that I can go kill myself, and it really doesn't faze me. And I think that is the saddest thing that I have ever said. So obviously it's great that I'm this resilient, but at the end of the day, not everyone is going to be, and I'm lucky that I am. But if we have new employees come in, and if we have this reoccurring thing where we need diversity, so we're gonna have to bring more Black people in, we're gonna have to bring more colored people in, they are gonna have to deal with this, and they should not have to train themselves to be okay with getting death threats. That is not the way. And they should not train themselves for getting used to being called the N-word. That is not okay. So I feel like we have a big issue here where we need to spotlight it. We need to talk about it, and it should not be talked about just this week. It should be talked about at any time, anytime, any day. And it's a conversation we need to continue having. And I think that's all I really want to say now. I'm sorry for the fucking boogers. I am so sorry. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. And you guys will never fucking see me cry again. This is it.
Well, Fiona, I think I speak for all of us that we love you so much, and we are better. We are better because of you being here. And thank you for talking. My God.
Yeah, I thought I understood, Fiona, the hate you were receiving, and here we are on June, whatever the fuck this is, and I'm still learning. It's a big thing. When my call with Mika yesterday was she very eloquently and very patiently explained the reality to me in a way that I was blind to, and I've been blind to a lot of your pain as well. And not just you, everybody, everybody that's received hate in our company, no matter what color or.
Okay, we're like 17 minutes in, and we're not going to do the whole thing. But like, isn't that like the whole video? You know what I'm saying? Isn't this like, if you're politically moderate and you want to air out these grievances, like there it is. Like you're done. That's the subject that you got on here to talk about. It's over. There is nothing else to say. The queen has spoken. It's over. How is this an hour and 23 minutes? Well, what else is there to say? Yeah, like you said, JT. Yeah, monitoring. Yeah, so what? Yeah, like we're shutting down the comments because we're getting we're getting A-logged by the Rooster Teeth gamers. Yeah, like, what does that mean? Yeah, well, oh, dude, yeah. I think they got rid of the like and dislike bar because I think this video got ratioed, as far as I know. Because now it doesn't show the dislikes anymore. Is that true? So apparently this did not go down well. But yeah, think about being subscribed to the company, and this is, you find this, you get this in. It's crazy. What are all these Achievement Hunter merch? I didn't know there was that many different amalgamations. That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, what else is there to say? What is going to be said for the next hour?
Creed or orientation you are. If you don't mind, I'd like to go back in time a little bit to talk about how we arrived at this policy.
Okay, this might be
that we're changing.
A policy. So Jason, can't answer your thing.
I am from the deep South. I was born in 1975.
75.
And I grew up in a system in Alabama and Florida and Louisiana of endemic, of systematic, and honestly, really overt racism.
Let's hear it.
I am very unfair to the South and the state of Alabama. I shit talk them constantly because of how much of a chip I have on my shoulder about being from that place and my experiences there and seeing the kind of people that they were, and it's unfair.
Oh fuck, dude. Are you just Oh, dude, I want to hear that. What's he talking about?
I mean, it wouldn't be an Achievement Hunter episode without some kind of technical issues. So this seems very appropriate for.
We're probably trying to save him. Yeah. Okay, that's fun. Like, the only funny thing that's going to be said on this video is Jack. That's.
And I thought that I was. Christ. Hold on.
That's funny though. I'm glad they didn't get rid of that.
We've got.
Yeah, we're making sure we hear you in the stream.
I'm trying to be a pussy, please.
How about now? Any good? I'm back. Okay. God, I continue to be just a calamity of technological problems. But I thought I was a reasonably progressive, woke individual.
Based?
You know, I thought I was what I was about to say. I thought I was an advocate. I thought I was. I thought I did a lot to help. I have, gay rights. I have gay people in my family who I look up to and love dearly. Women's. I thought it was enough to go a couple times a year. You go to a march, Black Lives Matter, women's reproductive rights, voting.
Jeff marching.
Pro-immigration rallies, donating money a couple times a year to charities and causes. That I thought I was making the world a better place. I thought I was doing my job. But kind of going back to what Fiona said earlier, that's just the fucking baseline minimum a decent human being should do. And I've got to do better. I've got to be a stronger voice. I have a voice. I have a platform. And I personally have to do a better job by you and for you. And I'm talking to Fiona and Mika and Lindsay and my daughter and everybody in our community. But where I'm getting at is, I realize I'm starting to spiral a little bit. Where I'm getting at is, because I'm older, it's not just that I grew up with racism in a different time, but
Dude, you got to tell me.
I'm from Gen X, which is a very overlooked generation. There's a lot of talk about millennials versus baby boomers and how Gen Z is our future, and they are.
True.
But I existed in a really weird time where I have one foot in the past and one foot in the present. And it's a really uncomfortable place to be sometimes. I was talking about this with Bernie last night. I was talking about it with Jack today.
What does that mean?
I think that part of my problem in accepting, well, I have an incident that I'll get into that really hurt me. But I think part of the problem that I have, and this antiquated thinking that I have, is that I was 19 years old before I saw the internet. I was 22 years old before I got my first computer. I lived in a time where social media didn't exist.
Normal.
The internet, and this is as I was, even up to the point where we're starting Rooster Teeth and we're creating Drunk Gamers and Ugly Internet and all these projects that we had, and using the internet as this tool of creativity
for hate.
It was kind of a toy to me then. The internet was no different than a four-wheeler or a video game console. It was new and emerging technology that was neat and fun to play with, but it wasn't real. It wasn't tangible. And I realize that sounds really backwards and bizarre considering I created a company that existed on it and because of it, and that we lived in it. But I just had a block in my head where I couldn't see it as anything more. And by the time social media came out, and I'm in my 30s, it's once again, social media is a clever toy to play with. And for me and for guys like Jack, who are old and who lived a full life and who became adults before we were ever exposed to it. And I realized, and I don't know why I couldn't see this before, but I've been looking at my daughter a lot. And I realized she's never grown up. She's grown up in a world of social media and Twitter. And Instagram is as real to her as a newspaper was to me, or the evening news. Twitter is a real and essential way of her and people around the globe to communicate in an instant. And I didn't respect those things because I lived in a world before them. And it's been a hard thing for me to wrap my head around and to understand that other people see social media and the internet in a very different light because they've only lived in a world with it. And I'm backwards, and I have got to catch up. And it's really funny. I've been thinking a lot about this conversation I had with when I used to work tech support. That's where I met Bernie and Gus, and we started Rooster Teeth. I was 23 at the time, 24, and I got a call from a guy who we did outsourced internet tech support. So he was having trouble checking his email, something really simple, and he was having trouble grasping it. And in the conversation, I could sense his frustration, and I was trying to calm him down. And he kind of unloaded on me and said, he gave me some advice, I should say. He said, I was you in 1960. I was one of the people that helped build computers, and I was one of the smart, young, intelligent, forward-thinking people in the world. And I am now in my 70s or however old he was, and I don't know how to check my email, and technology in the world has passed me by. And he said, enjoy it while you can because it'll happen to you. And I thought, I live in a world of technology. It'll never pass me by. What happened was the world passed me by socially, and I didn't see it. And I'm that guy. I feel like that guy now. I understand what he meant. And
because
man, I just
as gay as younger people,
I'm trying really hard to drag myself into today, and
I'm trying to be more gay
because of that line of thinking for Bernie and Gus and I and Matt and everybody who was involved with Rooster Teeth in the early days. I can name them all. Kathleen, Mary, Joel.
Dude, you're the pioneer, man. You're the guy. You made Rooster Teeth, dude. You were there basically like Bill Gates and Zuckerberg. Like you were there in an early era of this Leviathan. And because you're not down with gay activism, you're somehow at a disadvantage as a pioneer figure. Like, oh, yeah, it's cool that like we literally made this revolutionary company, but I'm like a heterosexual white guy, so that's not as quaint, dude. Nah, dude, you're the man. You like made this thing that like nobody was doing. And he's talking about like, but I failed my black employees. Like, dude, that doesn't matter. Dude, like the guy's working like a tech gig so that he can begin this like multimedia, multifaceted company that people are thinking like, why don't you just do like a movie thing? Why don't you just do like indie projects? You have like a multi-purpose company. Like, dude, feel good about that. Like, that's awesome. What is all this being upset about?
Well, Jason, Dan, Nathan, like all of them. There was, in its infancy, there was the you've heard the term "don't feed the trolls." That was a very real thing, and it made sense. It was if you elevated the vocal minority and you gave them a voice, they would take it and they would run with it. And it was easier to not fan the flames, not to give them oxygen. And at some point, the internet changed. The advent of social media changed all of this, and that's no longer acceptable. And I understand that now, and I didn't at the time. And I think part of it was a blindness that existed in me because of an event that I've shared, and I've been kind of disingenuous with how I've shared it. I talk about, and I've had this conversation with most Rooster Teeth employees to try to prepare them for the onslaught of the audience, which can be wonderful. It can be overwhelmingly wonderful. And it can be a thing that I didn't know until about 15 minutes ago, which is people sending death threats to a very dear person in my life because she isn't as good at GTA as they wanted it.
Hold off. Like, that might be the contradiction here. That might be the thing that's he's saying, overwhelming. What happens when your audience is like not buying the bait? When your audience, like, people that you can't say are just haters, they're unreasonable. These people, they're raiding the chats. These people, these foreign elements are infiltrating what is the Wholesome Chungus Rooster Teeth sponsored content. What happens when like the actual loyal subscribers are like, yeah, I don't really like this thing anymore. This is kind of going in the wrong direction. What do you do as a company if like your loyal fans are turning on you, not in this like malicious way, but like, you can't just say they're trolls. You can't just say this is, there has to be a policy for interns who don't know about this thing. There's people that raid the chat, and you might think these are your people, but actually this is external. Well, what if it's not external? What if people like rationally are not just down with all of this propaganda type thing? Then you would have to like qualify that differently. You know what I mean? Then you're somebody like Jeff who's like, I fell in love with this thing and now it's this complicated. I don't know where it begins and ends. You start saying things like that because it is your audience. It's not some 4chan, acolyte. It's your people doing that. How did that happen? Who's correct? No, that's JT. Yeah, you know what's going on. So yeah, that for him to be he's dragging this out so far. It's like, well, it's actually just people who can't control the internet audience, whatever. But no, it's like I think he's offended that his audience would subject themselves to this very, for him, alien ideology. I grew up in the South, and I know all that tension's gone. I'm a CEO of my own company. I'm making my own money. I'm helping so many people. I'm doing all this charity, not just literally, but I'm participating in the lives of interns. And why would anybody like myself, or who I thought was like myself, do all of this A-logging? What's the source of that? He doesn't seem to know, and obviously he's not grasping that. He's thinking that this is all these people should never be part of this company. But he's obviously conflating the climate with very authentic versions of expression.
And early on in Rooster Teeth, after we created the community site, we released RT Comics, and it's the first thing we did that got a tremendous amount of hate and backlash, and it was brutal at the time, for the time. And at some point, I saw a comment from a user. This is, my daughter's maybe 18 months old, maybe a year.
I kind of want to this part's a little too much. So you know what? I'm actually going to cuck a little bit, all right?
Because it was easier to stuff it down than to do something about it and to stand up. And I'm not going to be quiet anymore. I'll never be silent again. I promise you. And we have a lot of growth to do in Rooster Teeth and in Achievement Hunter, and there's a lot of that going on right now. I mean, this started a long time ago. We've been continually trying to become better people and a better company. Obviously, we have a long way to go. We need to get there faster. And we've begun discussions internally, listening to our employees and people of color, and really listening and hearing.
We got a lot of black people on the team.
I want to make sure that the next person of color, the next person that gets hired at Rooster Teeth doesn't have to go through what any of their predecessors did, but certainly not the kind of hate that Mika and Fiona have gone through. And I'm looking directly at you, person who threatens my coworkers and my friends, who hates someone because of their sexual orientation or the color of their skin. I don't want you here. You're not welcome. This is not a place for you. This is no longer a place for hate. It never was. We just turned a fucking blind eye to it. And I'm not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. Go find somewhere else on the internet to live if you want to threaten and seed and sow hatred and division in our community. You don't belong here. I've been out and off for a minute. If anybody else wants to share anything.
That was well said, Jeff. Really.
Thank you. I certainly need to address my shit past.
Gavin, say it.
I don't want to defend anything I've ever done at all. I don't want to seem like there's anything to defend. There's nothing.
What has Gavin done?
I'm honestly such a coward for waiting this long.
Just not being gay.
And talk about it. But I just used to say just shitty, offensive things to attempts to be edgy that weren't funny at all. And this is behavior that I've corrected honestly years ago, but
it's too bad he has the beard.
With the progress I've seen in myself,
distracting.
Each year that goes by, I look back with more disgust at the shitty edgelord that I was trying to be, I guess. And I'm certainly not that person anymore. And a huge part of that is owed to Mika.
Wow, Mika cucked Gavin.
Just like giving me her perspective, and I'm honestly, I don't deserve to call her my friend.
Why would you say
that? I still can.
I betrayed you, honey.
It's hard to. It's just so hard to say, and I just deeply regret who I used to be, and it honestly just sounds so empty saying those words. Like, I feel like I hear that all the time, to be honest with you.
Maybe because it doesn't mean anything.
Who they used to be.
It doesn't matter. That's why it sounds empty.
Obviously, I'm only at the beginning.
Gavin is simple.
All of this, I need to realize that being a cast member is so much more than showing up to videos and then leaving. It's about setting an example internally and externally and being vocal. I mean, we can have all the community managers in the world, but no one will listen more to us. And I've just, like Jeff just touched on,
let me try to help you guys, because I know that listening to this is not pleasant. But what are you talking about, Gavin? You have an obligation to the audience. You gotta affirm this, like, you gotta, again, clarifying. Hey, man, I'm not just some guy talking shit, playing video games. I'm like a commentator. I'm like a public person. So I can't be misconstrued as like a racist or someone who's not liberal. You know, the audience can't be tuning on to a program, even one about video games. You know, that I'm a celebrity. I have to be in tune with my audience. What? Like, the guys playing video games have to play those rules? They do? Because these guys are commentators? They are? Question mark? That's not real, though. You know, you're actually not held to that. You don't have to do that. I mean, yeah, you can harbor hatred even esoterically, you know, but that's okay, because you're not running for office, or you're not a doctor or whatever. It doesn't matter. There's no, like, you're not held to that. But yeah, that's probably why this video is an hour long. It's because actually we're very serious people. This company, it means something. It's actually not about video games. It's actually about being a decent human being. So, is he not going to talk
Just
about
been
anything
ignoring it
else?
the whole time, and I'm just so sorry for that.
I mean, that's been.
I mean, I've been working on the internet in some capacity for almost 20 years now, and like Jeff said, yeah, the whole idea of don't feed the trolls. Like, I steeled myself off to that, and I've built walls. And I mean, in the early days of Rooster Teeth, I caught a lot of shit, and I just I trained myself to just to kind of push it away. And the idea of forcing someone to do that, especially now, I mean, back then the internet was still a relatively small place, and now it's a part of our lives. And the idea of just telling something, oh, just ignore it, like, fuck that. No, you shouldn't have to ignore it.
Yeah.
And I know
that's a cool setup. What's going on?
Like, I should have been there. I should have.
Why are you crying, Jack? You're not even part of this. He's got Doom on the wall. He's got his YouTuber, a bunch of subscriber award. Is this Halo? That's a Halo helmet on top of. Is that a prop or separate? Is that part of the? This is cool, dude. He's got the Texas state as like a. What do you call those? Okay, these are like separate. Are these both these monitors, or is that like a? There's a lot. This is like the best room by far of this panel.
I failed people, and I know I've done and said things that were horribly offensive, and
okay, I think we've peaked. I'm feeling guilty clicking on this video, but racial guilt actually. It's actually on topic, but I might wrap up pretty soon here. But first, I wonder if Off Topic was originally just a platform for them to do their comedy stuff, and then it gradually became political, because now being Off Topic means you have to like sit on a soapbox. It appears that's what happened. That's so crazy. Well, that's what happens. JT and Simple, yeah, that's Double Dime. The platform was infiltrated by the climate. Wow, that's crazy. Can we find like the pivot? This all seems like above board. This is all your typical shenanigan content. Okay. Well, I'm glad we did that. I mean, not really, but you know what? That was worthwhile. I can't do that by myself. You know, you guys got to help me. Anyhow, what if I X this? Does it? There we go. Well, thank you guys. Yeah, that was fun. I just wanted to do some content, okay? I said I was going to do it, then I flaked, so I'm doing some more. How about that? Yeah, thank you guys. Just wanted to, I mean, it's called AMA. So that means anything. But yeah, that was fun. Glad we had some stuff there. The Off Topic podcast only gets like 100K. I don't know, that sounds like a lot. Sounds like they were doing it in a proper way for a while. Then they had to capitulate because they were going to sound offbeat. We were going to sound like we were believing in something outside of what people tell us to. You should be afraid of that. Oh. All right, chat. Do we call it? Do we end the stream? This horrible live stream? This is not going to be like imagine finding that. Imagine like somebody wants to investigate the fall of Rooster Teeth. I mean, there's a more proper way to do that, but we didn't do that today. So you know, just wanted to, didn't have anything planned, so thought that was going to be something. But hey, thank you guys for tuning on. Love you guys. Glad we can have these like low key type things. Yeah, love you, JT. Simple. Double Dime. Glad you guys tuned on, man. If there's anyone else in here that wants to do a last call, last thing before we get out of here, you know, you could do that. But other than that, I don't know when the next little thing we're gonna do. Not sure. But I like these low, you know, this is all I ever wanted, to be honest. I know people have these like illusions of grandeur, like let's have a big audience talking about lots of subjects, possibly some people to clarify that we're doing it all very properly. But I just like going on here with no plan, and if I can find something willy-nilly like that, I feel like those are the best streams. I mean, the best content is something else, but you know, any plans to bring guests on for future streams? I want to bring on Rachel Haywire to talk about industrial music. As far as like very particular collabs, you know, I'm just not sure. You know, I don't really talk to a lot of the guys, so you know, I'm probably a bit out of tune with, you know, the people. But yeah, I might be doing something. We're kind of, you know, you want to talk, you know, JT, you were talking about this like ambiguous period, 2020 to 2023. It's like, yeah, like what's the thing now? What would people like eagerly want to tune on to? I'm having a more difficult time as I get older figuring that out. So yeah, I might do some goofball, you know, experimental things. I mean, I don't want to say like this because this was like not very interesting as far as like what we're talking about. You guys are already like in the lore with that. But yeah, things like this where, yeah, we're just going to go on here, and if people want to send their you know, like, I mean, Simple basically got me to check out the JonTron lore. You know, I wasn't too familiar with that before I went live. So yeah, if people want future things, honestly, I kind of want it to be audience oriented, although I should have some kind of managerial control over that. Because then it's, we basically won't have a plan. So, yeah, it's not very like laid out. So I'm going to try to figure it out as I go along. But yeah, we're not going to have this like, I don't think this stream is very doesn't really tell you what to anticipate for the future. A lot of the stuff's not going to be like this in terms of like not being structured. I'm saying it's going to be like this as far as, yeah, we don't really need to be like doing lots of guests, lots of political content. Been on that for a while. You guys probably already. But yeah, I'm just glad you guys can tune on. I mean, it's Saturday. What you're telling me people can't just like passively tune on to this like very juvenile content? What's everyone doing? How are you guys doing? How about that? How's that for an audience-oriented stream? I'm about to close shop, so if you guys aren't super hyped up about anything specific, then yeah, we can get out of here. But yeah, thank you guys. Love it. This is what we do. Although not really. Don't really want to lean on that. All right, praise for counseling. Yeah, there you go. Hey, man, we gave some therapy. Yo, Jacob. Got here pretty late then. Sorry, Jacob. Well, what's going on with you, man? Tell me in chat. What have you been tuning on to? The whole stream is now on Jacob's shoulders, okay? Jeff's got Micah on his shoulders. Yeah, sorry. If you want to do replay gang, then yeah, we did some of the Rooster Teeth lore. For those that don't know, Rooster Teeth was one of my favorite spots on the internet to basically get my content. I was a gamer before I got into politics, before I seriously got onto Twitter. And they were basically a haven for hooligan activity, comedy, gaming. And honestly, as far as I know, they basically missed the Gamergate timetable. They were a bit late to the cringier stuff. So I do want to give them props for that. They weren't this like overly obnoxious thing that you can't tune on to because it's so obnoxious. They were actually, it took them a while to get cringe. And I think, to say it one more time, I think people like Jeff who were going through personal stuff, I think, for him to kind of like say all of that in the Honest Discussion podcast, to me, it's like he seems to be conflating emotions that don't go together. Like he's actually upset about his personal stuff, which is fine. And I don't actually hate him for that or think he's like a cringe person for feeling that. But yeah, because he wants to like grandstand about political things, it's like, well, now you're kind of putting yourself in this public arena because there's other stuff going on that actually warrants your attention. So yeah, I think for a lot of like people my age that were not consumed by that, that climate, or people going through emotional things and then they express it with these political grievances. For someone like myself, that wasn't really my childhood. Or, I never really had to have an arc like that as of yet. So, to hear him like say all that, I almost don't even want to make fun of it. It's like his own personal journey. But yeah, for people to express it politically, I feel like that's a mistake. You should not do that. Even if you are being like genuine about it, it's actually not good. Not exactly talkative right now. Gunsmoke, that's it. You're checking out Gunsmoke? That's cool. The Rifleman. That's like Tarantino content. Dude, that's like, I like to check out nostalgic stuff that I liked before I got into politics. And for Tarantino, it's probably like old Western shows. Been listening to that old radio show for the past few days. Not bad. Well, all right, folks. What a stream. Yeah, sorry if that was long-winded. That's what I mean. I don't want that to be thought of as like, that's what we're doing moving forward. Yeah, this was just a low-key thing. But yeah, I want to do more low-key things that don't have to do with people airing out political things. Well, thank you guys. I'm glad I can do things like this, and it's not too bad. But anyways, yeah. Hey, glad you guys tuned on. Glad I could get your attention for just a little bit. That's what this is for. All righty. Well, take care, guys. Love you.